So today we're going to be making an updated video here for installing Windows 10 on your Mac in VirtualBox. This is my most popular video on the channel, so I definitely appreciate you guys for watching. So I like to make these tutorials every single year because, well, some things change. We get new operating systems, we get new problems or errors and things like that. So today we're going to do a step-by-step process how to install this in VirtualBox, and we'll even talk about some error messages and other things you might get along the way and how to resolve them. Alright, so the first thing we need to do, of course, is download VirtualBox. So VirtualBox is a free virtual machine software that you can download on several different operating systems. Now, this tutorial will work also for if you're on a Windows host, but we're on a Mac host today, but it should be pretty similar. So you want to head over to virtualbox.org, and on the home page there should be a giant blue download button here, and the latest version as I'm recording this video is 6.1.18, and you can see that right here. So all you want to do is click on the link for whatever your host machine is. So in this case, we're on a Mac, so we would click on the OS X host right here. And you can see there's actually Linux and Solaris ones as well, and then there's Windows right there too. So again, we're on Mac, so you just click on that link and it will download the VirtualBox installer file, the DMG, right there. And wherever that downloads, probably your downloads folder, you just simply go ahead and open it up, and it's probably going to have to verify the DMG file for us here. But once this opens up, we should have another window here with a few other things. Alright, so we should have this window open up right here, and you can see 4 different things. So this right here is the package file that will actually open up the installer. So you want to go ahead and click on that, and this will actually allow us to start the installation process. Now you may get a little pop-up window. You just want to hit allow on that, and this is where we're going to actually install VirtualBox. Now I'm not going to install it right now because I already have it installed on this computer, but you just hit continue and you go through the different screens until you successfully install VirtualBox. Now I want to go ahead and tell you there may be an error that you get when you're installing. So it's going to get right to the end of the installation, and then you're going to get an error message pop up. Now it might look a little something like this. It might say something like kernel driver not installed, or it could simply say something like open system preferences. And regardless if you get that pop up or the open system preferences, you fix it the exact same way. So in your system preferences, you want to head over to your security and privacy section, your general tab in there, and you're probably going to notice a message at the bottom that says something a little like this. So it says software from developer Oracle was blocked from loading. So all you have to do is click on this allow button right here, and that will allow you to actually install VirtualBox completely. So if you get that error message, it's real simple. Just head over to your system preferences and you can resolve it in your security and privacy settings. Now something else important to note here in this VirtualBox DMG file, there's also an uninstall tool. So I believe this is like a terminal command to completely uninstall VirtualBox if you ever want to in the future. And also there's a user manual right here as well in case you want to read that. So once you get your VirtualBox installed, we're going to need a Windows 10 ISO file. So basically this is a virtual disk kind of that has the Windows 10 installation files and the setup and all that stuff on it that we use to install Windows. Now all you got to do is head over to Google and just type in Windows 10 download. Now ignore the ads. Don't click on any of these. You're probably going to get some places you don't want to go and download something that you don't want to. You want to make sure you find the official Microsoft link, which is right here. Now I'll put this link in the description down below just to make it a little easier for you as well. But once you get here, it should say something like download the Windows 10 disk image. And if we scroll down here, all we got to do is select our edition. So it's going to automatically have whatever the latest update is for Windows 10. And in this case, it happens to be the October 2020 update. So you just select that, you hit confirm, And then it's going to ask you to choose your product language. So you just choose your language here, and you hit confirm one more time, and this is going to generate a download link for you right here. And you can see that you have the 32-bit or the 64-bit download right here, and most of the time you want to click on that 64-bit download, and it is a pretty good size file. So you can see that this is actually a 6.22 gigabyte file. So depending on your internet, this could take a while, but for the sake of time, I actually already have it downloaded as well. Alright, so once you get those two things installed, we can now go ahead and open up VirtualBox for the first time, and we can start the virtual machine creation process. Now your VirtualBox is not going to look like mine. I already have a virtual machine installed, so this is going to be completely blank for you, so just totally ignore all this right here. You're not going to see any of this. What you want to focus on is this new button right here, so go ahead and click on new. Now we're going to start the process of actually creating the virtual machine. So first blank here is the name. So the name is whatever is going to appear over here in this sidebar. So most of the time you want a recognizable name. Now keep in mind that you can actually rename this in the future. So if you name it something right now that you might not decide later that you don't like, you can always change it. So for my purposes though, I'm going to call this Windows 10 Test because, well, I don't want to delete my main virtual machine that I use all the time. But again, you change it to whatever you want to. And you can see right here, whatever you type here, it automatically recognizes what it is. So you have Windows and you have Windows 10. Now this right here is your machine folder. So VirtualBox by default creates a folder called VirtualBox VMs, which is actually located in your home folder. So that's where all your virtual machines are going to be stored at. Now I think that's personally a good place to keep them. But however, I do have videos on the channel showing you how to move virtual machines to other places or to other kinds of storage. So you could change this to wherever you want to. You can even install your virtual machine on an external hard drive or an SSD in case you may not have space on your host machine. But again, I have videos on the channel showing you how to do that. So if you want to learn, you can go check those out. But once you get this, you just hit continue. Now right here is your memory size. So this is the RAM. Now the RAM is obviously going to be shared with your host machine, so you need to know whatever your host machine has. So I have 16 gigs of RAM, so you can actually see that right here. So I can pretty much set this to whatever I want to. Now it recommends 2048 megabytes, which is about 2 gigs, and I believe that's the minimum that Windows 10 actually requires. Now on my main virtual machine, I actually only use 2 gigs of RAM and it works perfectly fine. Now the good news here is you can change this amount anytime you want to. So you can always go back into your settings and you can change this around. So if you set a number here and you find that maybe your virtual machine's running too slowly, you go in there and you can increase this. But as long as you stay in the green slider here, you should be okay. I usually recommend not going over half of whatever your host machine has. So for example, this computer is 16 gigs. I wouldn't go over 8. If you had only 8 gigs of RAM, I wouldn't go over 4, and so on. So again, this number can be changed whenever you want to, but just go ahead and set it to about 2 gigs is what I'd do for now and see how you like it. So we go to the next screen here. So now we're going to create a hard disk. It's always a good idea to create the virtual hard disk now. So we hit create. VirtualBox disk image is the one that you want. And most of the time I also say dynamically allocate it. Now you can do a fixed size as well. So what does this mean? Well, basically dynamically allocate it. So let's say you set your hard drive space to the 50 gigs. Okay, so 50 gigs will not be taken up immediately. It'll be taken up over time as it fills up. So if you only ever use 20 gigs on your virtual machine, that's all the space that your host machine is going to be missing, is 20 gigs. If you do a fixed size, it's immediately going to take 50 gigs of storage, regardless if you've used it or not. So that's why I say dynamically allocate it. And we can hit continue. And now right here is your storage size. Now it's very, very important here to note that you cannot change this value. So whenever you set it right here, that's what it's going to be. If you want to change it, you're going to have to delete the virtual machine and start over. Now, they recommend 50. I typically recommend 64 minimum. I've never seen a Windows 10 PC below 64 gigs. So I recommend that. But again, know how much storage your host machine has. I have 512 gigabytes, so I should be okay regardless of what I set. But I would do a minimum of 64 gigs. And again, you can't change this number, so be sure you know what you want. And this is also why I said it's a good idea too, if you want, that you can install the virtual machine on a different drive. Or after you set it all up and you decide you want to move it later, you can do that as well. So I'm going to set this one to 64. And there we go. So once you hit that create, you can see that it pops up in your little sidebar there, and you see all this information here. Now before we click start, we want to go into the settings and just check a few things here. So first off, there's really nothing in this tab. Your system, you can uncheck that floppy. I don't think we need a floppy disk in 2021, but who knows, you might. And there's that RAM, so you can change it right here if you want to at any time. Processor, you could bump this up to 2, but most of the time you're going to be just fine with 1. And let's see here, your display, no matter what, make sure your video memory is all the way to the right. So 128 megabytes is my minimum here, or my maximum. You could enable 3D acceleration if your computer has it, and then move it all the way to the right. That can make things a little bit smoother for you, better performance. But most of the time, you're good with just the base here, 128. That should be good there. Now the rest of these tabs, there's really nothing else here to talk about. So once you get that done, you just hit OK. And now we can go ahead and start the machine up for the first time. So you just click that start button right there, and it's going to open up another window here for us. And we're going to get this screen right here. So it says, please select a virtual disk file. So this is where we're going to select that ISO that we downloaded earlier. So there's a folder icon right here. Now we're probably going to get an error, and I kind of hope that we do, just to show you how to fix this. So you click on that, and then you click this add button, and it's probably going to crash. So let's see if it crashes. Yep, it crashed. Okay, so this is another common error, and this used to not happen to me at all, so this must be a Big Sur thing. But you're going to get this thing that says quit unexpectedly. You can just ignore. You click details, you see this is an NS error failure. So I just uploaded a video showing you how to fix this. But yeah, I don't know what causes this. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. So yeah, must be a Big Sur thing, but I'm going to show you how to fix it, or at least get around it. So you just hit OK. So what we need to do is we need to actually insert the ISO pretty much ourselves. So here's how you do it. Go to your settings again, which are right here, and you want to click on this storage tab. Now right here, you're going to notice this empty CD drive. So this is a virtual CD drive right here. And if you look over here on the right, there's another CD, and it says choose a virtual disk file. So you click on that, and you want to hit the choose a disk file right here. And once you do that, you're going to get the Finder window that was crashing earlier, and you want to navigate to wherever you have your ISO file stored. So you just click on it and you hit open. Now what this is going to do is it's going to go ahead and insert that ISO into the virtual drive for us before we start it up. So there we go, it's in there. Now we can hit OK. And now let's hit start on the virtual machine. And it's still going to ask us on this drop down menu here to select it, but as you can see, it's already in there. Now if it's not popping up here for some reason, you just click it and you can then click on it right there. But it should load it for you automatically since we just did that. And now we can click the start button and we should start booting into the Windows 10 setup screen. And I'm on a secondary display, so for some reason this like goes to the other screen for some reason. Just a little glitchy there, but if you give it a second here, you should notice the Windows 10 logo appear. And there we go. So there's our Windows 10 logo, and we're going to start loading into the first setup screen. Okay, so you're going to get this Windows setup window right here. You can click on this X to get rid of those VirtualBox pop-ups. But yeah, you just want to make sure your language and everything is good, and we can hit next. And then we click on this Install Now button. Now, you may be noticing the cursor lagging a lot. The reason for that is the screen recording. So that's why it looks really slow. Trust me, it's not that slow. The screen recording just takes up a whole lot of CPU. And you probably actually hear the fan running right now. So that's why it's so laggy. Now, the first thing you're going to get after hitting that is your product key. Now, if you have a product key, go ahead and throw it in there. But I imagine most of us don't have a product key. So all you have to do, and this is the nice thing about Windows 10, is you can use it as long as you want without a product key. So all you have to do is hit I don't have a product key, and what's going to happen is it's going to ask you what version of Windows you want to install. So you can literally pick any one of these you want. So Windows 10 Home, there's Pro, there's Workstation, Education, any version of Windows that you would like. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use Windows 10 Home, so we can hit the next button here as well. So just hit that. Now Windows, when you don't activate it, basically what happens is you can't personalize it, so you're not going to be able to change your wallpaper or things like that. And you're probably going to get like a little thing sometimes that says activate Windows, little watermark, but hey, it's a lot better than having to pay for a license, so I'm not complaining. I've been using my other virtual machine for months and months and never had an issue. So yeah, you can use Windows without paying for it, which is nice. Now you want to go ahead and accept the license terms, just check box, and then we can hit next again. Now on this screen, I like to hit the custom one right here, and the reason why I do that is just to make sure that it's recognizing the whatever storage we allocated to it. So as you can see, it is the 64 gigs. That's what I chose. Whatever you chose will be right here as well. But yeah, once you do that, you just hit the next button one more time, and we should start to install Windows. And now it's going to go ahead and begin the Windows 10 installation process. So it's going to copy the files and then install them. And this is going to take a little bit, so I'll come back whenever this decides to get done. Installing, it's going to restart for you, and then it's going to come to this screen after Cortana greets you. Now you can go through that talking to her if you want, but if you just click this down here, it turns her off. So but anyways, this is just the basic Windows setup now. So you just go through this. So first off, it wants our region, so you just select whichever one and hit yes, and then it's going to probably ask us about our keyboard layout, if I remember correctly. But what I'm going to do, just to kind of skip over this because it's just Windows setup, I'm going to skip through this until I get to a certain part that I want to talk about. On Windows 10 Home Edition, it doesn't make you do this on anything else except Home Edition, I'm pretty sure. But they basically want you to have a Microsoft account. Now, who wants to do that? So I literally just released a video about this, how to sign in without a Microsoft account. So all you have to do in a virtual machine is you have to disable the network adapter temporarily. So what you can do is go up here to the devices in the menu bar, and you go to where it says network, and then you can click right here. It says connect network adapter, and when you click on that, what it's going to do is actually disconnect the network adapter on the virtual machine. So what you can do now is, I believe you hit next, or no, you don't hit next, you hit the back arrow up here, and it's going to basically reload this page right here. And instead of saying sign into a Microsoft account, it's going to say just, who's going to use this PC. So basically you'll be doing a traditional computer account instead of having to sign in. So that's a real quick, easy way to kind of avoid using a Microsoft account to sign in. So yeah, you simply just go through this and you can put your password in, whatever, just like you create a normal computer account. And if you don't want to put a password, you just hit next again and it will continue on. So once you get done with that part, you can go back to devices, go back to network, and just hit that connect, the network adapter again. So now you're connected to the internet on your virtual machine again. But yeah, that's how you bypass having to sign into a Windows or a Microsoft account. So quick, easy way there. We are finally here on the desktop. Now you may think, well, great, we're done. Well, there's actually one more thing that we need to do, and then there's also one more optional thing that you can do as well. So first off, if you notice, if I go full screen mode, well, the window stays the same size. It doesn't take up the entire display. And it also goes for if, whoops, like I said, I have a secondary screen and it likes to put it up there for some reason. But if I resize this window, it doesn't change either. You can see no matter what size you make it, it's not going to work properly. So what we have to do to fix this is install the VirtualBox guest editions. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do right now. Now on Windows, all you have to do is head up here to the menu bar on your Mac, and you want to go down here to where it says insert the guest editions CD image. And when you click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to insert it into that virtual disk drive on Windows. So to find it, we just go into our File Explorer, and then we can head over to this PC. And when you go into this PC right here next to your local disk or your C drive, you should see in the CD drive the VirtualBox guest editions. So you can go ahead and double click on this right here, and it's going to open up the contents of the guest editions. Now the one we want here is this one right here that says VBox Windows Editions, and that's the one that you want to go ahead and double click on to open up here. Now you might get a little pop-up, you just simply hit yes, and it should open up the guest editions installation wizard. So we can close this Explorer window, and there we go. So all we gotta do is just hit next, hit it again, hit install, and you're probably gonna get a pop-up in this as well. You just hit allow on it too. So there's that pop-up I was talking about. You just want to hit install on that. And once that gets done, you should notice that your cursor is a lot more smooth, and you just want to hit the reboot now. And once this restarts, we should be good to go. Now, while this is actually going to restart here, once this gets done, there's one more thing that you could actually install. Now, you need to go back on your Mac here, and you want to head back over to virtualbox.org. You can go to the Downloads tab over here, and if you scroll down a little bit, you should see something that says the Oracle Extension Pack. Now, this is completely optional. I do have a video showing you how to enable this, and I think it's called Enable Your Webcam or something like that. But that's what the extension pack does. It enables USB devices, so you'll be able to use those. Your webcam, your microphone, all that kind of stuff will be activated in the extension pack. So if you want to know how to do that, like I said, I got a video showing you how, but basically you just click this right here, it downloads, and it'll pop up in the VirtualBox application and ask you to install it. So if you're going to be using your webcam, microphone, or any other USB devices, then you need to download the extension pack. Like I said, it's optional, but the guest editions are required. Alright, so now we're back here booted up, and if you try to resize the window, it automatically adjusts the resolution properly. So that's really, really nice. And if we go full screen, well, it'll be just like your laptop or your desktop, whatever, is a Windows computer now. So yeah, very nice. That's why you always want to install those guest editions. But anyways, guys, that's how you install Windows 10 on a Mac using VirtualBox. Be sure to leave comments down below if you have any problems. I'll try to help you the best that I can. But I hope this video helped you out. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button if you want to, and I'll catch you on the next video.